Sounds good.
All tangled up over there.
Here's my cue. Oops. Sorry. All right. I know. Welcome
What's
back.
up?
Hey, glad to be back.
Hopefully we
Back
can all
with you
actually
guys
hear you
again.
this time.
Yeah. New setup. Hopefully the mics are functioning properly this time.
Yes. Yeah. Apologies about the last time.
Oh, that's
Sounded a
all our
little
bad.
garbled, but
Hey, your message was still great. So
no, I'm
that's
glad. I'm
exactly
glad
what
if anybody's could be like a learning experience guinea pig. I'm glad it was mine.
It's unfortunate it had to happen, but it did.
Hey, everything happens
Yeah,
for a reason.
for
'Cause
sure.
here we are again.
That's right. Bringing back the new hairstyle today.
Yes.
Fresh today.
Yep.
Fresh.
Brand new.
Yep, I had the blue for a little bit for those who saw me. Was feeling spontaneous. Found out blue's not my color, and that's okay.
You have some remnants on the front.
Yeah, there's a little bit. That'll wash out in time, but
Right.
yeah, I'm not much of like a sports guy. Like I watched a little bit of football in like high school. And it's that season where everybody's like all about football and fantasy football. And so like everyone that comes in, they're like, "Oh, is that for like a sports team, like for Penn State?" I'm like,
Nope.
definitely not Penn State right now.
Nope. Ouch. Nope. Not for Penn State.
It's a sore subject for a lot of Pennsylvanians right now. But
Yeah.
yeah, so just mixing it up, trying new stuff. You know, one of the perks of being my own boss is get to pick my own wardrobe.
You don't have a uniform.
Yeah.
It's just clothing.
Yep.
Yeah.
Whatever I feel like wearing on a given day, as long as I'm wearing pants, we're pretty much good to
Oh
go.
yeah.
Yeah.
That's the best life.
Fair.
Yep.
Sometimes no pants is good too.
Yeah, very true. Yeah, just got to know your audience.
Exactly.
All right.
All right, guys. So
Stephen, go ahead.
yeah, we wanted to bring Noah on today because he wanted to speak on something he's passionate about, and that is living with a purpose. I'm going to lay some background out here before we actually start the conversation, but living with a purpose is something that's extremely important to you. Living with purpose is making deliberate choices driven by your values, your passions, your goals, and aligning your actions with what brings you fulfillment and contributes to something larger than yourself. It involves developing a deep understanding of your unique gifts and leveraging them in ways that helps others and leaves an impact on the world. So there are some key aspects here of living with purpose that I wanted to touch on before we actually started, and that is these key aspects, right? So we have intrinsic motivation. This is like acting on internal values and passions rather than external rewards. Alignment, ensuring your daily activities and life roles contribute to your overall sense of fulfillment and vision. 3, contribution. Sorry about that. 3, contribution, making a positive difference in the lives of others and serving something bigger than yourself. And lastly, intentionality, consciously making choices that align with your goals and values and using all experiences as opportunity for growth. Beyond that, we can get into like the spiritual side, which is something you also wanted to touch on, which was your faith. Purposeful living, spirituality, faith. What does faith mean to you, and how does that impact your purpose?
Yeah. Thank you. And you're so good at kind of enveloping all of that. Like you definitely have a gift for words. So thank you for sharing that with us here and helping to frame this. And yeah, purpose is something that's incredibly important to me, mainly because I spent a lot of my life searching for it, you know, and I believe that
You're always worried about him.
yeah, no, you're
Sorry.
you're good. There's always something got to go crazy during mine. So we got the lady yelling disconnected, but we are connected. And we hope to connect on a deeper level. So purpose is something that's always been important to me. And this surprises a lot of people. And I think I might have touched on it before, but in a lot of my childhood, I didn't feel like I fit in, you know, and I know a lot of people can relate to that. You know, I went to private school for most of my, you know, early years. And then my freshman year, I switched to Mechanicsburg High School, which being a freshman is hard enough as it is. So then going to you know, from 40 kids in my class to 300 something kids in my class and not knowing a single soul, that was definitely challenging, you know, and a big theme that I faced from an early age was rejection. I felt rejected by friends. I felt rejected by, you know, people that were my superiors in school. You know, there was times where I tried out for sports teams and things, and I just didn't make the cut. And so I have felt this like constant rejection, and I began to think that I was the problem, and that created a deeper searching and longing for purpose in me. And it can manifest in a lot of different ways, but for me, it manifested in a lot of like isolation initially, and a lot of self-doubt and self-blaming. And without, at the risk of sounding a little cheesy and cliche, the turning point in my life was actually when I met Hannah. You know, she saw something in me that other people did not. Helped me with my own confidence. Helped me to start to discover myself, and at least for myself, finding my life partner was a foundation for really finding who I was. And hopefully she could say the same, because we're at very different points in our lives when we met. We were both in high school, but then I started to realize it's not about me. Like, it's a lot bigger than me. And I started to think about our future, and then started to think about my career and like where all this is. So, give a little background. My dad is a pastor. I grew up in a church setting, so that's all very familiar to me. But when you grow up in it, it can become so familiar that you don't really ever truly experience what it is,
Right.
You
And
kind of lose
fortunately,
sight of that.
yeah, you get like accustomed, you get comfortable.
Hmm.
So you're always going through the motions, you're going to church on Sundays and all that. And I was very fortunate my father never pushed anything on me. Like, he was very understanding and very accepting. Like, they tried, both of my parents kind of guided us, but they never were like, this is what you have to believe, and like shoved it down our throats. Because I know a lot of pastors' kids end up rebelling
Yep.
and going off in another direction. But it wasn't until like my late teens that I started to really start to think about my faith for myself, right? I'm a very skeptical person by nature, so I'm always questioning everything. So if someone tells me you have to believe this just because it is what it is, I'm like, that's not enough for me.
Yep.
It's not enough that it just says this in a book and that's just what you have to believe. Like, I need something more tangible, and my life experiences, I would say, will probably have shaped my faith the most, especially in the last few years. So yeah, so purpose is super important to me. Um, a lot of people go throughout lives and don't ever fully experience that. Our society really channels us into a system of just finding a job, making money, and then we rack up debts and bills, and then we're only just focused on how do we survive the next day, making enough money to pay those bills, and it becomes this vicious cycle. One that Hannah and I were in for quite some time, where we were both working jobs, and we didn't necessarily hate our jobs, but we didn't love them. We were just kind of doing our thing. And well, Hannah was like a lot more stable than me. She was our stable worker, and I was always changing jobs and trying different things. And
Yeah.
it was everything from banking to IT to um, I worked in clothing retail, I worked in restaurants. And yeah, it wasn't until I told a little bit about the story before, when we kind of left our jobs to purchase New York Fitness back in the day. And even that was like a big risk, because I wasn't a big risk taker at the time. But just felt like I was tired of going through life without any idea of what I'm doing here and how it impacts anybody. And I just kind of got fed up with that. So I just shot from the hip, and it ended up totally falling flat, which seemed even more devastating, because I'm like, I
Yeah.
took a risk. Why didn't it work out?
Hmm.
Um, but that started to get me accustomed to taking risks and not being afraid of what the consequences might be, because we often doubt ourselves, but we're really resilient when we're in hard situations.
Yep.
But if we avoid hard situations, we never get to really test our resilience enough to actually experience it. Um, and it's super uncomfortable. Like, Hannah and I faced a lot, when we were starting the gym, and we had a lot of support, but there's a lot of things that people don't see or don't know. And I think people come in now and just think that, we're just super like well off, and all this just kind of fell into our laps, but
Yeah. We're talking like,
not the case.
yeah, usually when our backs are against the wall is usually when we perform our best, right? When we have to,
Yeah.
right? We have no other option,
Hmm.
right? So,
Yeah. So yeah, and I'm not gonna lie, like, I had a very comfortable childhood. Like, we didn't have much, but my parents made sure that we always had food on the table. and I didn't really have to suffer a lot as a
Mhm.
kid, and I think like there was definitely undeveloped things within myself because I hadn't gone through certain struggles. So, like, granted, like these struggles were self-inflicted, right? Like nobody told us we had to open a gym. Nobody told us we had to quit our jobs. We could have kept going in that same comfortable pattern, but people stay in their jobs because they feel safe.
Mhm.
And now I look back, and my life might be crazy and unexpected and volatile now, but I realized how unsafe I actually was living in the stability that I had made up in my mind that I had, you know. And we're seeing it now. A lot of these corporations are laying people off, and things that people thought were sure things, oh, I'm going to rely on the government to take care of me because they have these retirement plans and Medicare and Social Security.
Yep.
Well, we're realizing that's not necessarily a very safe bet anymore. So we have to kind of take our lives into our own hands. So yeah, so it definitely, my mindset has shifted. My risk mindset has shifted. And beyond all of that, the thing about purpose is when you realize it's not all about you, you have this other level of drive, and now I'm seeing I wake up every day and the decisions that I make impact a lot of people,
Yep.
and there's a lot of pressure, but it's also really cool at the same time because now we have people who rely on us for their income, so it impacts their families. So there's like this spider web that the further you go, the more people are impacted by our decisions. So yeah, it's very scary, but it's also very rewarding at the same time. Wouldn't trade it for anything, and I'm not saying that, 9 to 5 jobs are any less important because everyone has a different path they have to take. But the
Yep.
big thing at the end of the day is if you don't feel that you wake up and what you're doing is contributing to other people's lives other than yourself, then you are missing out.
Yep.
You're missing out big time. And it's time that you take a good look at your situation and the people that you're surrounding yourself with and say, like, what do I need to change to start to go on that path to finding yourself? Because we got one life.
That's right.
We got one life.
And it's short, right?
It's very, very short. I was listening to Gary Vaynerchuk the other day. He's
Yep.
always saying all kinds of stuff. If you don't know him, he's a lot.
Yep.
But he was saying something along the lines of there was a lot of time before you were born, and once you die, there's eternity after you.
Yep.
And so the in between, like your life is such a short snapshot. So like you have to truly make the most of it.
Mhm.
And nobody knows what happens when we're gone.
Right.
So you have a choice. A lot of people like to think that we should just be good and moral people and live in a society that's civilized and that's good enough. I mean, that's not good enough for me because the fact that we're able to sit here and have these intelligent, intellectual conversations to me tells me there has to be more to this. And I'm never preaching to anybody. I know my dad's a pastor, but like I feel so sure that there's more to all of this. And I can't necessarily define it. I can't tell you anything for sure. But the fact that we're able to have these conversations intelligently and think about these things and experience love and experience pain, experience joy, experience passion, all those things tell me there has to be a greater purpose to all these things, and if I'm wrong, I've lost nothing. If I'm right, I've gained everything.
Yep. Absolutely.
And so that's the kind of way I look at that. So, and I've been very careful with ARC. I want this to be a community that anybody feels welcome coming through these doors. So, never want anybody to feel like they're being pushed in any direction politically or religiously. But at the same time, how many people come into the gym because they're hurting, because they're dealing with something, because they have a difficult family situation? Like, this is a haven for a lot of people. So it's our responsibility, all of us, especially you guys as trainers and dealing with people that
Yep.
are obviously looking for more, to be responsible for counseling them and helping them through that. Um, yeah, this is a cool industry. We get a lot of cool opportunities.
Yep.
Yeah.
So yeah, I might have just gone off on a little bit of a tangent, but I'm
Hey,
kind
we
of
love
just
it.
kind
We're
of
here
just
for it.
talking
Yeah.
from the hip here, like what's on my heart and my mind today.
Yeah. It's exactly what we want.
So yeah, for sure. So thank you guys for listening to me.
Absolutely, man.
I am kind of curious though, like what was the catalyst for you to throw yourself into the risk of opening your own gym. You didn't wake up one day and just say, "Hey, I'm going to buy New York Fitness."
Yeah.
Like you had to realize that something wasn't right to where you were comfortable to take that risk, whereas you weren't before.
Yeah.
Because you could have, the risk could have been moving across country to California, like you and Hannah had
Yeah.
the opportunity to do. But what was that catalyst that made you decide, hey, I want to be a little uncomfortable and take this risk?
Yeah.
Do you know, was there like a moment or something?
Yeah, I think so, and I can define it.
Mm,
I think it was building up for a long time.
yeah,
Like I think that pressure is building, and I think a lot of people feel that pressure. And I
just
think
feels like uneasiness all the time.
yeah, like uneasiness, just repetition.
Hmm.
Like I was always super passionate about whatever job I had, but always just felt like I'd give 100% and I got 50% in return. It's
Hmm.
always that just like I need more. And I think I was like ready and looking for whatever that thing was. Like I had all this energy building up. And then I think the catalyst was um again, I was looking for a reason to get out, and we were working for a company at the time, and um I didn't always stand up for myself, but they started to ask me to do some things that I felt were unethical and basically be dishonest with our clientele on a few things. And like something just like snapped in my head, like I don't have to do this.
Hmm.
I don't have to do this. There are choices that we have, and we were making good money. I mean, the opportunities
Hmm.
were potentially very great should we have kept going with that company. But I just literally said enough is enough. I'm putting my foot down regardless of the consequences. Well, very shortly the consequences were I was unemployed.
Right.
um, you
Yeah.
know, which was the first time I was ever unemployed in my career. And boy, is that tough,
Hmm.
because when you're searching for jobs, if you're unemployed, you are 10 times less desirable to an employer than if you're employed looking to leave,
Yep.
or if you're being recruited. I felt like I had a sign on my back that said, "Don't hire me."
Yeah.
Because before whenever like we were going to buy New York Fitness and that fell through, I was obviously in like survival mode. So I'm like, I better start looking in
Hmm.
case we need to just get a job quick and work something out. And yeah, like I couldn't even get interviews,
Hmm.
and I'm like, going from when I was in banking, I would get a call once a week of people like trying to recruit me. So what a shift.
Hmm.
What a shift. And I know other people can relate that have been unemployed. Um, but that's when we really said, like, okay, can we actually do this?
Hmm.
And I'll say time and time again, it is not on our own strength or own resources that we built this place. We had people that invested in us, people that believed in us. John and Brock both, saw the vision and believed in me in times when I did not. So again, that's that surrounding yourself with people,
Hmm.
because you're going to have lows. Any entrepreneur, any person that strove for greatness, if they tell you that they were a one person show, they're lying. Because nobody does it on their own. Scott Curran, like he gave us this incredible opportunity and like hooked us up big time
Hmm.
to get this started. And a lot
Right.
of people don't realize how many people had to be involved in this community. That's why it's way bigger than Hannah and I. There's so many different spider webs of things that had to happen in order for this to play out. But yeah, it's really hard when you make those decisions, but you have to just realize, and this thing I remind myself, when you do that, when you take those risks, the harder it gets, the more you know you're going in the right direction.
Hmm.
Yep.
And
Yeah.
we seek that path of least resistance. Like we see it all the time, how many get rich quick schemes are out there, and Instagram influencers telling you how to make your next million.
Yep.
If those guys are so rich, why are they still on Instagram trying to sell you a $10 course? Like,
Right.
something doesn't add up there.
Yeah.
So I say take the harder path, and then surround yourself with people that are going to lift you up and that are going to help you along on that journey. And then do that for other people. Like
Hmm.
that's the next part,
Right. Giving it
is
back.
yeah, giving it back, and that's
Hmm.
probably the most rewarding part.
Yeah.
Right.
Something that we kind of touched on in Micah's episode last week was how kind of the stars aligned,
Mhm.
right?
Oh
And
my
how they
goodness. Yeah.
continue to align, right?
Yeah.
It always blows my mind when, I mean, you can go down a deep rabbit hole with this, but like, what if in every decision that you make, right, every interaction you have with someone, what if one thing had changed? Like, what course would it have taken?
Yeah.
It's just mind blowing
Hmm.
Yeah.
when you really think about it,
Yeah.
and how like everything has just been
Yeah.
align perfectly for where we're at right now.
Oh yeah, I think about it all the time. Like, what if even when I first approached Scott about this, like, so the way that it played out is when we needed a building, I literally I said a prayer. Again, that's just like we were at our wits' end, and I'm like, what can I do when I have no other options? I can pray, and I can meditate, whatever that looks like. And this building popped into my head. Born and raised in Mechanicsburg, the 20 years that I grew up here, I had never actually stepped foot in this building. And then popped into my head, like, that could be a building where we could start a gym. And I came in, and Scott wasn't there the first time I came in here. It was still a furniture store. And I talked to the girl named Sophia that was working at the store at the time. And I pitched my idea to her. Again, it sounded crazy.
She probably thought you were a wacko.
She probably thought I was a wacko.
911.
Right.
But she was like 7 or 8 months pregnant, and she was there working by herself. And I came in, and I was like, I'm not here to buy furniture. Probably she's probably like, what is wrong with this guy?
Right.
And I was like, well, here's, I'm trying to start a gym in Mechanicsburg.
Like whispering to her.
Yeah. So she took my information and said, I'll pass this off to Scott. And like a week went by. And again, I'm on that low spot of self-doubt, right? Like, so like I'm in a real bad mental space. And I remember thinking, I didn't hear anything, so it's a dead end.
Just not meant to be.
Yeah. But then in my head, I'm like, what would it hurt to call and follow up on that? It's not going anything to lose.
Nothing.
So I called, and Scott answered. And I was like, hey, I know it's a long shot, but I want to follow up on, I stopped by the other day, and he's like, oh yeah, you're the gym guy. He's like, yeah, that sounds pretty cool. We should talk. We've been talking about it. I was like, not what I was expecting.
Right.
And then just one thing led to another. And yeah, so you could say it seemed like the stars aligned, but some people believe in miracles, and things that are beyond our control. Like, what I believe is that we are given opportunities, and like some people wait for God to act. Like he's going to perform a miracle and everything's going to align and he'll drop it in your lap. I don't think it works that way.
No, definitely not.
I think he gives us the tools for us to take action ourselves, and then that is honored in the things that we're blessed with.
Right.
So we had to all take some unreasonable risks and actions in faith, and I think those were the miracles, right? When things seem like a dead end, and a lot of people believe in, like, if one door closes, I'm like, let's knock this door down. That's always like, if a door closes, if we feel like our purpose is to go in a certain direction, like, and that is our purpose, then like nothing should stop it. And we had to get creative. We had to change so many things, so many times. Initially, the gym was going to go in the area that we're sitting right now. And then, Scott's sister actually proposed the idea, Dee, that we go in the showroom instead of back here. Right around the same time, my contractors were getting ready to tell me that we weren't going to be able to do this because we weren't going to be able to zone this properly. So by switching to the front that already had bathrooms and handicap accessibility and all that, it opened up the next phase to be able to move forward, right? And again, that wasn't even on the table when we first started engaging with the Kerns about the lease, but I just never lost the faith, always kept moving forward. All the while, had no idea how we were going to pay for any of this.
Right.
Because we didn't have the money in the bank account. But again, the right people in the right places at the right time. And I still step back some days and I'm like, whose gym is this? It's not mine. And it's not Hannah's. Like, it's this community's, And at the end of the day, we pay the bills and we sign the checks, but it's everybody has come together to make this happen. And I think we're just getting started, and our impact and our calling is still being written.
I think before we move on too much farther, I just take a second to acknowledge the foresight that it takes to walk into a furniture building, an established furniture building in the hometown that you've lived in for 20 years, and go, this would be a pretty nice gym, while you're staring at a 13,000 square foot room of furniture that looks nothing like it does now.
Yeah, and I've seen those pictures
before.
Right.
Like it's
all
empty. It's just showroom of furniture, and you go, no, this could be a good gym. Let's do that instead.
Well, to be fair, and Hannah can attest this, I look at almost every building and I'm like, that would make a cool gym. But this one specifically is really cool. And even the name, we can touch on that. Like, it's Ark Fitness. Some people get the Noah's Ark joke. Hannah would be accredited for coming up with that. Like she originally said, let's call it Noah's Ark Fitness. And I'm like, I don't want my name
It's
in
a little
it.
too much. Yeah.
And then ARC also, we created the acronym accountability, respect, and knowledge.
Mm.
But just so many weird little things that are just really, really neat. We were just at the Sight and Sound presentation of Noah back in May.
I remember you guys talking about that.
Yeah, so it was the 30th anniversary of Sight and Sound's production of Noah. The same year it was my 30th anniversary of being alive.
Yeah.
So
That's
just funny
pretty
little
sick.
coincidence. So they took
Yeah.
me to see that show, and they're talking in the production about the dimensions of the biblical ark and how like in the biblical measurements it equated to like 75 feet wide.
Mhm.
And when they said that, I was like, holy crap,
Don't tell me the front of the building 75 feet
it's
wide.
75 feet wide to a T.
That's
And
insane.
I know that
Wow.
because the rolls of flooring that we rolled out initially were
70.
75-foot rolls, and we didn't have to cut them because they
Oh
were the
my.
perfect width.
Wow. I
So
did not know that.
yeah,
Actually.
so just call it coincidence, whatever it will. To me, it's like just like a little wink or affirmation of
Yeah.
all this.
That's
That's wild.
crazy.
Yes, yeah, and I guess we're just all a bunch of animals.
Yeah, you've just collected every two of each as you keep going.
Little things like that that are just really cool. And I could go off for hours about just all the little things that
Mhm.
seem to just align perfectly.
Yeah.
But no, it wasn't just aligning. It was the work that everybody put in, the vision, the late nights, the risk taking, like all that is what's required for this kind of thing to play out. And I do believe there's a greater purpose to it. I believe it's we answered the calling though. All of us answered the calling to do what we're doing. And then that's what happened.
Yeah. And then everybody else just showed up.
Yep. Everybody else showed up. Mike, I listened to her podcast, which was awesome, by the way.
Thank
And she talked about like Jubilee Day,
Mhm.
where we didn't have any equipment yet. On, on trust, I wired a guy
Mhm.
like 6 figures that I loaned to put as a down payment for our initial equipment order. And I'd never even talked to this guy on the phone. In retrospect, I probably should have done like more background checking on this guy. He
Not a
came through.
scam.
He was legit. He was referred to me from another guy that
Mhm.
owns a gym down south, and he said this guy sells equipment, but his website like could have been a fake website that was put together in minutes. It was very basic, and he could have very easily scammed us, but like the equipment showed up. But on
Wow.
Jubilee Day, we had no equipment in the building. There was still furniture in here. And I said, let's try like a 1-day pre-sale and just put it out there and, see if anybody joins. We had like 60 something people in a single day
Oh
while
wow.
we sat at a tent at Jubilee Day that put their money where their mouth was and
Wow.
said, like, we believe this is going to come together. So that was like pretty cool,
Yeah. That's pretty impressive
confirmation.
because
Yeah.
now anytime you set up the tent at Jubilee Day, it's like you see everybody's there just for like food and listening to music and shit. Nobody's expecting to sign up for a gym membership in town
Yeah.
when they go to Jubilee Day.
Definitely not average
No.
results that what you'd expect just going out to an event like that. But it was just confirmation that the community was ready for this.
Mhm.
And I'm not in any rush to grow or expand, but I do believe that
The demand is there.
when we fine tune what we have here, there's a greater need for it.
Mhm.
And there's a lot of communities that could benefit from something like this. But it's greater than a franchise model where we're just like, let's see where we can plop these and make money.
Mhm.
We got to establish the need and then create a system where whoever's running these other gyms or training companies that we eventually expand upon, that they're doing it to the same quality and purpose and passion that we
Mhm.
are.
Right.
Yeah. It's not a cut and paste kind of model.
No
Not
cookie
at all.
cutter stuff, right?
No, exactly. And so, very low chance that we'll ever do any kind of franchise, and we'll grow
Thank God.
privately and independently at a pace that we can keep up with our
It's
culture.
sustainable.
Yep.
Yeah. Right.
I want to touch a little bit on some values and core beliefs, because those they're critical when you're decision making, right? So, what do you feel are maybe one or two, maybe three of the most important ones for you when it comes to making decisions and guiding your actions?
That's a good question.
That is a great question. And that's evolved significantly since we opened the gym.
Mm-hmm.
I still have so much to learn, but being in a position where you have to make critical decisions every single day, it definitely shapes the way that you make decisions and the way that you act. I'm a lot more thoughtful now still take risks, but I'm so much more thoughtful than I was initially. Like, hey, maybe we can do this a smarter way, or if we're going to do a project, we should get 3 quotes instead of just going with the first contractor that we think
Mm-hmm.
about. So those are all things that they're just experience things that you just learn over time. So it's saying just being very careful in decision making and then thinking about how it's going to impact everyone. Hard thing is, and this is the hardest thing to come to terms with, especially as a business owner, especially as somebody who looks to please people, is you're never going to make everybody happy.
Mm-hmm.
And that's the hardest thing to acknowledge is you have to understand your vision and your values and who you're trying to cater to, and then stick with that. Because it's so easy to play the game of how can I try to please everybody, but no matter what decision you make, you're going to disappoint someone.
Yep.
So when you can accept that, like you have your core people to please, like a lot of people are like, oh, you should make things a little bit more hardcore, or there's people that this isn't a real gym because you don't want people to take their shirts off and slap chalk around. It's like that stuff is cool, but like we want a gym that people can work hard and make progress, but also a gym where somebody that's not a gym person that like physically needs that change to live another 5 years feels comfortable walking in here and being greeted and being welcomed and feeling like they're at home. And so that was my thought initially, and I've not wavered on that. In fact, I believe we've probably doubled down on
You've
it.
probably leaned into it more than anything.
Yep.
Yeah.
Lean into it, and like it's confirmed by the stories of people that walk in and they're like, yeah, I was not expecting this, because they see what they see on social media and Instagram, and like, they have their assumptions of what it's like here. But I think the thing that makes us different is we employ really awesome, incredible people. We really try to take care of them and take care of the employees. And I know Brock does the same thing with you guys and his team.
Mm-hmm.
And when you set that standard, that trickles down to the members and how they feel when they walk in. But I love when I see new people come in and like our regular people, like they just welcome them and they just start talking to them. And like where a lot of gyms can be very territorial and people act like they own their little slice of the gym, and like a new person walks in, they give you dirty looks. Like that is what we want to avoid at all costs.
Yeah.
But yeah, learning people's names, just making them feel welcome when they come in, asking genuine questions about them. I don't hire salespeople. Like I never incentivize any of my team on selling memberships or anything like that. It's like learn who the people are when they come in. Most people already know our pricing and everything's on our website, so it's pretty easy to find out all that information.
Yep.
It's like they're looking to make sure they feel good when they come in here. And that's the most important thing. Cool confirmation of that, and I'm not going to call out any other gyms, but some members of ours that were here from almost the beginning, they moved about 20 minutes away to another town. And so they canceled their memberships back in February. And I just saw they just rejoined this weekend. And I was like, guys, what's going on? Like, did you move back? They're like, no, we didn't move back, but like the gym we were going to like wasn't it for us. So like we're gonna just make the commute. We want to come back to ARC. And I was like,
No way.
that's pretty cool. Yeah, so
That's sick.
that's a cool confirmation, and they're awesome people, and like I don't blame them, like because convenience is a big factor for people getting to the gym. So I would not knock anybody. Like if you're going to be consistent because you're going to a gym that's 5 minutes away versus 20, I support that decision. But it is cool to know that like they still felt it was worth traveling here for what we had to offer and the culture and the way that we made them feel. So yeah, we want to continue to build on that, and then just convince everybody else that's terrified of gyms that like you have a place here. You have a place here, and the gym's not for everybody, but like if you're not happy with where you're at and you want to make a change and you need to do something, we'd love to be on that journey with you.
Are you telling me your way of running a gym has good retention? Really?
Yeah.
That's
Shockingly.
impressive.
Yeah.
Nice.
Well,
that's
we
incredible.
have to,
Yeah.
because with you guys, with the training and with the gym, we have a very, very lax policy on leaving.
Yeah, for sure.
Like you can text me, you can Instagram message me and say, I'm not happy here, I don't want to come anymore.
Yeah.
And I'll stop billing you immediately. Like I don't have a notice to cancel. I don't make you come in and sign something.
Right.
So that's a big thing for me. And I know you guys are the same way. Nobody's ever locked into any type of contract.
Right.
Not at all.
So that puts the accountability on us. Like we got to do a good job.
Yeah.
And if not, then that'll be corrected because people will be leaving. And then we have to act.
That's super cool. That's awesome.
So practicing acts of service and engaging in activities that make a difference to the lives around you is something we see firsthand here at ARC all the time. As the ARC community continues to grow, where do you feel like you could make more of an impact moving forward?
That's a great question, and I think looking right in front of you is a good place to start. And when I
Mhm.
say that is the people that are already here, um, and also in our community. We have been talking with the borough, and we just need to pull the trigger on this. But we want to form a volunteer group that just does acts of service in downtown Mechanicsburg, wherever there's a need. And I know our members are game for it because any opportunity where there's a fundraiser or like a food drive,
Oh, they show
they
up and
show up.
show out.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So like let's mobilize the community that we've already built and utilize it to make this area better.
Yeah.
It's easy to try to just conquer the world and
Mhm.
throw money at these huge causes, but I think if every community just focused on one small little area,
Hmm.
the greater change would be even better.
Yeah.
But yeah, local organizations that we can support. um Also, just personally, something I need to be better at is just slowing down sometimes.
Yeah.
And I've got 10 million things on my mind at any given time. And sometimes I'll be trying to multitask, or like I'm trying to do inventory or place an order while I'm at the desk and someone's trying to talk to me. And I just have to get better at like closing what I'm doing and looking at the human in front of me and acknowledging they need to talk to me right now.
Yeah, I think we're all a little guilty of that, just how fast
Hmm.
paced everything
Mhm.
is
Yeah.
and all the responsibilities that we have.
Yeah.
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 Very
No,
good
you're
point.
you're definitely not the only one, and it's something I'm sure we all could work on and become a little bit better at for sure.
Yeah.
So,
Yeah. Because everybody's dealing with something.
oh yeah.
Everybody's got their own struggle.
Hmm.
And, it's always like, I don't have time to talk right now. But then I'm like, hold on, reset. You need to make the time to talk right now.
Hmm.
Like you always have the choice as far as like this person might just need to have a friendly conversation,
Hmm.
Mhm.
and sometimes you can see it on people's faces and sometimes you can't.
Hmm.
Sometimes something happens and you're like, I had no idea that somebody was struggling with that.
Yeah.
Right.
But yeah, you slow down, you smile at people. Um, you know, Talk about Ron for a minute. Like one thing that he was really great at doing was just acknowledging everybody that came through the door. So walk the extra 10 feet to the right to fist bump or say hi to somebody that's sitting on a machine in between sets and just acknowledge them versus going about your straight path.
Hmm.
It cost me 10 extra steps, which I need the steps anyways, to
Yes,
say
you
hi
do.
to this person. So like, and that becomes repetition. And then that, honestly, it's funny because I'll start seeing myself doing that in public too. People don't even
Hmm.
know. Like I'll just like say hi to people, and
Hmm.
it's cool because then the reactions are pretty funny, and they're like, "Oh, like you might make somebody's day just by like
Hmm.
saying hi to them or paying them a genuine compliment or whatever it is." It's easy to do that in here, but like take that with you wherever you go.
Elsewhere.
Yeah, and it makes you happy, makes you feel good.
That goes back to Brock says every now and then, and like when we sat and talked to him, I don't maybe you remember he said he makes an effort to walk slowly through a crowd,
Yeah,
right? Like for you as a gym owner, it's really easy just to blaze through one end back to the other, and he's busy, he's the owner, he's got stuff to do, but
Mhm.
you take the time to acknowledge people along the way, back and forth as you walk through it. And being the owner, it holds weight. It carries like people respect that.
yeah,
Honestly,
yeah,
it's huge.
no doubt.
Absolutely.
I want to touch on a couple more topics real quick. We're running a little short on time. I want to backtrack a little bit to taking risks. I want to get your opinion and your thought process about how do you weigh the pros and cons of a decision and like how much risk you're willing to take just when it comes to making those decisions.
Yeah, um, that's a good question. That's a tough one,
Hmm.
and again, that's evolved in time as I've started to um, diversify a little bit, and like sometimes decisions can be motivated by fear. Like, I'm afraid of what happens if I do this. I'm afraid of what happens if I do this. And once you establish your own confidence enough and your own ability to make decisions, you're no longer making decisions based on fear. You're making them based on experience and your own confidence in yourself. So I would say now, when I make decisions, I really do try to take my time and Fortunately, I have Hannah to consult with, and she's like really good at seeing my blind spots, so that's also super helpful. Um, being prayerful or meditating, even if you're not a religious or faith-based person, just taking time to think about something, not connected to technology or anything else, will literally help you think more clearly and make better decisions. Because nobody makes great decisions under lack of sleep, under pressure, under distractions. Sometimes you just need that little bit of clarity in order to make decisions a little bit better. So yeah, that's probably something I'm focusing more on, is just disconnecting a little bit more. So one small thing I started doing very recently is when I wake up in the morning, instead of immediately looking at my phone and checking messages and checking Facebook, which is like terrible, by the way.
Yes.
Very bad habit.
I always feel stressed when I start my day that way.
Mhm.
My alarm goes off, and I lock my phone. I don't look at it. I go, I shower, whatever I do to start my day, and I haven't even looked at my phone yet. I have to answer calls if there's an emergency. So like, I figure if somebody's calling me, I'll answer it.
Mhm.
But outside of that, I take at least half an hour at this point before I even look at my phone, and like, I feel less stressed
Mhm.
by the time my day is started. And I might pray or meditate a little bit and just think about what's on my mind and process it, versus like you go down that rabbit hole of just like, why am I looking at videos on Facebook of like random nonsense
Mhm.
going, like, now there's just like AI videos, so we're not even watching real things
Yeah,
anymore.
you don't
It's
even
just
know
Yeah.
what's real anymore.
Yeah.
yeah. So definitely put the phone down, start your day off in a productive way that gives you a good foundation, because that's what dictates the way you're thinking for the rest of the day,
Yeah.
and
That's like
even the way I look at things.
that's the making the bed theory, right?
Yeah.
Start your day off by accomplishing something. It sets the tone for the rest of the day.
Hmm.
If you start your day by looking at Facebook and the worst headline or the worst video that gets the most views, and it's going to send you into a friggin' spiral for the rest of the day immediately. It's
Yeah.
not good. Not a good way to start.
Yeah.
Not at all.
Yep. Yeah. And preparing, I know I'm going to have to make hard decisions today,
Oh yeah.
because that's every day.
Yep.
So if you come in with that mindset, you're dealing with people every day, you're dealing with emotions.
Mhm.
There was a situation the other morning where
Yep.
there was a conflict between a member and their ex in the gym, and like
Mhm.
that could very easily like start my day off poorly and stress me out.
Mhm.
But instead of letting it stress me out, I thought, how can I be there for this member? How can I make sure they're okay? Like, let's first make sure there's no immediate danger, which there was
Mhm.
not. It was more just emotional. But then how do we follow up on that and like problem solve it?
Yeah.
And then boom, like I just solved a big problem by 8 a.m.
Yeah.
And like just by keeping a level head and dealing with that, instead of like letting it derail my day, I actually felt a little bit better,
Mhm.
because it's gonna have to be handled one way or another. So
Why not handle it with a clear mind and
mhm.
thinking through things like you said?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Right.
Yep.
Makes more sense.
I want to ask you this, kind of to wrap up here. What do you have to say to anyone out there who feels lost? They don't have a sense of direction or a purpose in their life.
Mm.
Like, what words can you give to them to kind of ease their mind or like guide them in the right direction?
Yeah. Well, we've all felt that way at some point, and I feel confident in that statement. And if you have any doubt in your mind that you have a purpose and that you're made for something greater, if you're living and breathing, then I can tell you that you do. And you just have to find it and seek it. Matter how small or insignificant you may think your job is or your life or anything, it is so far from the truth, because the moment you start using it and start small, we feel we don't have a purpose, I think, when we're too often focused on ourselves.
Yeah.
But when you start to focus on other people and think how you can help them, it starts to develop naturally. So start looking outward instead of looking inward, and your purpose will become very apparent. But when you start asking for that, get ready, because it starts coming. I
Mhm.
mean, that would be my second best advice, is like, it is not easy, it is challenging, but when I wake up and I say, God, give me a purpose today, show me who needs something in their lives, you're going to find it. It's all around you. Most
Yeah.
of the time we just have our head down so much we're not even looking for it.
Mhm.
Mhm.
So start your day that way. What can my purpose be today? Please show me what my purpose is going to be today. That's step one. Step two is be ready for it. because it will come to you at that point. And it's hard, it's challenging. It comes with emotion. It comes with its own difficulties, but that's what makes life worth it. If everything was just good and peachy all the time, I think we'd get really, really complacent and bored.
You wouldn't appreciate the good days.
Not at all.
Right.
Not at all. I think that's what's really cool about our job and like the industry that we all work in. It's all service related, right? Like my day is not about me anymore. It's about, hey, I get to see this person at that time, this person at that time. It's it's not I have to see them. Like I get to work with them at this time, and then they have my time for an hour. I'm not thinking about anything else. How can I make their day better? How can we get through this workout and make them feel better? Like all that kind of stuff. And it makes the job so much more rewarding, and you get to see that as the gym owner and foster that community. It's fantastic.
Yep.
It's so much better.
Absolutely.
Yeah. That's fantastic. You want to touch on anything else?
Is there anything else you'd like to add?
Yeah,
Something
please. Floor is
maybe that we
yours, my
missed?
friend.
Yeah, no, I think we covered it pretty well. But I would just challenge people, like if you're listening to this and you've made it this far, obviously you've hopefully gotten some value out of it. And if you aren't confident in your own purpose in your own life, change your direction today. Start seeking it intentionally. And then at the end of the day, nobody knows what happens when we die. I don't want to have any regrets. I don't want to look back and say I could have done more. I could have lived more in my purpose. Truly live every day like it could be your last. I know that's kind of a cliche, but you won't have any regrets that way at all. So that'd be my biggest advice. And if anybody is struggling with that, just needs to talk about it. Talk to me. Talk to any of us.
Yep.
Like I know that you guys have a similar heart for that, and that you're happy to be there to talk to anybody.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
Yeah. If you feel like you have no one to talk to, there's always someone out there that is willing to listen.
Yeah.
Right.
Absolutely.
Yep. The
Yeah.
only thing we ask is if we do that for you, do it for somebody else.
Right.
And then pass
absolutely.
it on.
Pass it on.
That's right.
For sure.
Cool.
Well, let's not pretend like this is the last time we're going to have Noah sitting in this chair. So if there's anything we didn't cover, I'm sure we'll get to it another time.
Yeah, we'll give it a break till I change my hair again.
Yeah.
You said springtime, right? You go ahead.
Right.
What? All blonde again? Platinum?
Oh, we'll see. We'll mix it up a little. Maybe we'll do a mohawk or something.
Whenever we're ready for a new setup, we'll have Noah back on just to keep everybody guessing. But no, that's definitely not the last time. So if we forgot anything, please don't worry. We'll probably get to it at some point.
Yeah, absolutely. It's an honor and a pleasure. You guys are doing a fantastic job. And
Thank you,
I know there are so many people that have incredible voices and perspectives. And I've loved listening to everybody so far. And I'm excited to hear who you guys have next.
I appreciate you, man.
Thank you for being here.
Awesome.
Thank you. Taking the busy time.
Absolutely.
Yep. Gotcha, buddy. There was D. All right. All right. I think there's no better place to end it than that.
Yep.
All good. Well,
Sounds good.
thank you guys for tuning in.
Yep. Thanks for all the support.
Absolutely.
Till next time. See ya.
See ya. Great job.
Cool.
Great job, buddy. That was awesome.
Yeah, thank you guys.
Thank you.
Appreciate you. To gab a little bit.
Like I said, there's plenty more that we can get into.
Oh no, butt sweat. That killed me. Steven, you love butt sweat. That's like the Easter egg at the end. No more party for podcast. Yeah, we need to sit on towels. She's just straight up calling her. I love it. As soon as he stood. What you got going?